Summer break had finally arrived, and my friends and I couldn't wait to escape the mundane routine of school. We planned the perfect getaway at a remote cabin known as Paradise Lodge. Nestled deep in the woods, it promised seclusion and serenity. Little did we know that it held horrors beyond our wildest nightmares. As we arrived at the lodge, a sense of unease washed over me. The weathered cabin loomed eerily against the darkening sky, and the surrounding woods seemed to whisper sinister secrets. But the excitement of adventure overshadowed any reservations we might have had. The first few days were delightful. We hiked through scenic trails, swam in the pristine lake, and shared hearty laughs around the crackling campfire. Yet as the sun dipped below the horizon, an unsettling aura shrouded Paradise Lodge. One night, as we gathered around the campfire, we heard faint cries in the distance. At first, we brushed them off as the sounds of wildlife, but they grew louder and more desperate. The chilling wails sent shivers down our spines, and we exchanged nervous glances. The following day, we decided to explore the abandoned cabin nearby. The mere sight of it sent a shiver down my spine. The windows were boarded up and the door creaked ominously as we pushed it open. The air inside was thick with dust and an inexplicable sense of dread. As we ventured deeper into the decaying interior, we discovered remnants of a dark and tragic past. Crumpled papers and faded photographs told a haunting story of a family that once lived here. Their happy faces contrasted starkly with the grim fate that awaited them. One photo in particular sent chills down my spine. It showed a young girl standing by the lake, her eyes hollow and expression void of joy. A sinister presence seemed to linger in the background, obscured by the darkness. That night, strange occurrences haunted us in the lodge. Unexplained knocks echoed through the walls, and the doors would swing open and shut on their own. We laughed nervously, attributing it to the old age of the cabin, but deep down we knew something was amiss. As the days passed, the atmosphere grew more suffocating. An inexplicable sense of being watched plagued us day and night. Sleep became a distant luxury as nightmares of malevolent entities invaded our dreams. One evening, we stumbled upon an old journal tucked away in a dusty corner of the cabin. Its pages revealed a haunting tale of a disturbed man who had once lived in Paradise Lodge. Consumed by darkness and despair, he had turned to dark rituals to summon the spirits of the forest. His obsession with the supernatural had unleashed a malevolent entity that now haunted the lodge and its surroundings. The spirits had claimed his family, driving them to madness and despair. The girl in the photograph was his daughter, a tragic victim of the horrors he had unleashed. Fear gripped our hearts as we realized that we were now trapped in a nightmare not of our making. The malevolent presence fed off our fear, growing stronger with each passing moment. Desperate for answers, we sought the help of a local medium. She warned us that we had to confront the malevolent spirit head-on if we had any hope of breaking free from its clutches. Armed with sage and incense, we prepared for a harrowing ritual to banish the entity. The night of the ritual was tense and terrifying. As we called out to the spirits, a gust of icy wind swept through the lodge. Objects flew off the shelves, and the atmosphere grew heavier with each passing moment. But we stood our ground, united in our determination to rid Paradise Lodge of its haunting curse. With the medium's guidance, we chanted ancient incantations, demanding the malevolent spirit to leave. In a moment of chilling silence, the cabin seemed to hold its breath. Then, as suddenly as it had started, the malevolent presence vanished. The weight in the air lifted, and an overwhelming sense of relief washed over us. The nightmare was over, and we were free from the malevolent entity that had tormented us. We packed our bags and left Paradise Lodge, vowing never to return. The once idyllic getaway had transformed into a realm of terror and despair. As we drove away from the lodge, I couldn't shake the feeling that something lingered behind, watching us from the shadows. The horrors we had faced would forever haunt our memories, a chilling reminder that some places should never be disturbed, and some nightmares are all too real. Summer break was finally here, and I couldn't have been more thrilled. 2 whole months of freedom stretched before me like an endless sea of possibilities. My friends and I had big plans for the summer camping trips, beach days, and late-night bonfires under the stars. The summer sun beat down on us as we arrived at our campsite deep in the woods. Excitement filled the air as we set up our tents and gathered firewood. The forest seemed alive with the sound of chirping birds and rustling leaves, but little did we know that something sinister lurked within those dense trees. As night fell, we gathered around the campfire, roasting marshmallows and telling ghost stories. The crackling flames cast eerie shadows on the trees, and a sense of unease washed over me. I brushed it off as my imagination playing tricks, but the feeling lingered. I decided to turn in early and crawled into my sleeping bag inside the tent. The woods around us were enveloped in darkness, and the only sounds were the distant hoots of owls and the occasional rustle of leaves. I closed my eyes, trying to shut out the strange feeling that something was watching us. But as I drifted off to sleep, I was jolted awake by a chilling sound, whispers. They were soft and barely audible, but they seemed to be coming from just outside the tent. My heart pounded in my chest as I strained to make out what they were saying. Terrified, I woke my friends, but when they listened, the whispers had vanished. They assured me that it was probably just the wind or the creatures of the night. Reluctantly, I tried to calm myself and drift back to sleep. But the whispers returned, more persistent this time. They seemed to grow louder, as if beckoning me to come outside. Against my better judgment, I unzipped the tent and stepped out into the darkness. The moonlight filtered through the canopy of leaves, casting an eerie glow on the forest floor. I could still hear the whispers, but they were no longer incoherent. It was as if someone was speaking directly into my ear. The voices urged. I felt a strange compulsion to follow the sound, as if I were being drawn deeper into the woods. Fear mingled with curiosity as I took hesitant steps forward. As I ventured further into the darkness, I noticed a faint light ahead. It flickered like a distant lantern, guiding me through the trees. Despite the gnawing sense of dread, I couldn't resist the pull of that mysterious light. The forest seemed to stretch on forever, and I lost all sense of time and direction. The whispers grew louder, swirling around me like a haunting melody. I felt as if I were being lured into a trap, but I couldn't break free from its grasp. Finally, the source of the light came into view, a clearing in the woods. In the center stood a group of shadowy figures, their faces obscured by darkness. They seemed to sway and dance, their movements hypnotic and unsettling. They chanted in unison. Their voices echoed in my head, and I felt myself being pulled towards them. But deep down, I knew that I had to resist the temptation. Summoning all my courage, I turned and ran as fast as my legs could carry me. The whispers chased after me, taunting and tormenting me. The woods seemed to close in around me, as if trying to swallow me whole. Just when I thought I couldn't run any further, I burst through the trees and stumbled back into the campsite. My friends were waiting for me, concern etched on their faces. They had heard my cries and rushed to find me. I tried to explain what had happened, but the words seemed to escape me. The whispers still lingered in my mind, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they were watching, waiting for another opportunity to ensnare me. We packed up our things and left the campsite that night, never to return. The woods had shown us a side that we hadn't expected, a sinister and malevolent side that we couldn't explain. As the summer continued, the memory of that haunting night stayed with me. The whispers still haunted my dreams, a constant reminder of the darkness that can lurk even in the most idyllic of places. From that day on, I never looked at summer break the same way. The freedom and joy of those carefree days were tainted by the knowledge that some mysteries are best left unsolved, and that not all adventures lead to happy endings. The summer sun blazed overhead, and the carnival had come to town, promising an unforgettable season of fun and excitement. My friends and I were thrilled to explore the vibrant rides and games, hoping to make this summer one to remember. Little did we know that the carnival held dark secrets beneath its cheerful facade. As the sun set, the carnival transformed into a mesmerizing wonderland of colorful lights and joyful laughter. The air was filled with the scent of cotton candy and popcorn, and the sound of cheerful music echoed through the warm night. We began our adventure with carefree enthusiasm, trying our luck at the carnival games and indulging in sugary treats. But as the night wore on, an unsettling atmosphere began to creep over us. The carnival seemed different after dark, as if it had taken on a life of its own. As we wandered deeper into the heart of the carnival, we came across an old tent tucked away in a secluded corner. The sign above the entrance read, "Madame Zara's Mysteries," and curiosity got the best of us. We decided to step inside, eager to experience the wonders Madame Zara promised. The interior was dimly lit, adorned with velvet drapes and mysterious artifacts. An elderly woman sat at a table, her eyes obscured by a crystal ball. She greeted us with a knowing smile and beckoned us closer. Intrigued, we took turns sitting before her, eager to glimpse our destinies. But as she gazed into the crystal ball, her smile faded, and her expression turned grave. "Your futures are veiled in darkness," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "The carnival harbors secrets, and once you've entered, there's no turning back." Unease settled in the pit of my stomach as her words lingered in the air. I brushed off her warning as mere theatrics, yet the carnival's enchantment had lost its appeal. The cheerful laughter now seemed hollow, and the lights cast sinister shadows that danced along the ground. As the night wore on, we found ourselves drawn to a peculiar ride that stood alone in a desolate corner of the carnival. It was a seemingly innocent carousel, but something about it felt wrong. Reluctantly, we climbed onto the intricately carved horses, and the ride began to spin. But as the lights flickered and the music distorted, a feeling of dread washed over me. The carousel seemed to move too fast, and the horses appeared to come to life, their eyes glowing with an eerie light. I tried to call out to my friends, but my voice was drowned out by the distorted music. Panic surged through me as I realized we were trapped on the cursed carousel, unable to escape its nightmarish grip. The ride continued to spin faster and faster, and the carnival's lights blurred into a nightmarish kaleidoscope. Each time we tried to dismount, the carousel accelerated, forcing us to remain aboard its sinister circuit. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized we were caught in the carnival's malevolent web. We were prisoners of its dark secrets, forever trapped in this nightmarish realm. Desperate for escape, I mustered all my strength and jumped from the carousel. As I hit the ground, the carnival around me dissolved into darkness, and I found myself standing alone in the desolate field where the carnival once stood. I stumbled back home, my mind haunted by the night's horrors. The carnival had revealed its true nature, a malevolent entity that lured unsuspecting souls into its clutches, forever binding them to its sinister games. Summer, once a season of joy and freedom, now held a dark and sinister allure. The carnival's secrets would forever haunt my dreams, a chilling reminder that even amidst the summer's warmth, darkness lurks where we least expect it.